Asia isn't just somewhere people travel anymore. It's really becoming a major hub for global retirement. And 2025 looked like a big year for this shift. We're doing a deep dive today, looking at the sources, figuring out where people are actually moving and, why this big move away from maybe more traditional Western retirement spots is happening. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today, to give you the clearest picture possible. We're pulling out the key points on things like affordability, how to deal with those sometimes tricky visa rules, what the quality of life really looks like on the ground, and which spots are hottest right now.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating looking at the sources is the core appeal. It's not just one single thing, it's this powerful mix. Affordability is huge, obviously, but also a really high quality of life for your money. Plus, well, that famous warm hospitality. Those seem to be the magnets pulling retirees east. It's more than just moving. It feels like an economic choice, almost an optimization.
It's exactly optimization. That's a good word for it. And whether you're, actively planning this yourself someday, or maybe you're just interested in global trends, tracking inflation, things like that, this info is pretty essential. The main drivers are super clear in the source materials: low living costs, surprisingly good healthcare in certain areas, and just this incredible variety of lifestyles available. So how do people actually make these big decisions? The sources kind of break it down nicely. They talk about four key things, pillars maybe, things retirees weigh up: community, climate, culture, and the big one, cost. Seems like if a place doesn't tick at least three of those boxes, the move might not stick.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, the data really hammers home why cost is such an engine here. Most places in Southeast Asia let you live comfortably, maybe even, quite well for just a fraction of what it costs back in the West. We're talking rent, food, help around the house, going out. It's all significantly cheaper. That difference, that's the core incentive for so
Well,
many. But there's a nuance there, which the sources do point out. It's important to remember. Not all of Asia is like super cheap, right? You've got high-end places, Singapore, parts of Japan maybe. Costs there can be right up there with London or New York. They cater to a different group. Then you have places like Vietnam or Thailand, which really stand out because they offer that huge drop in daily expenses. So the decision becomes less about if you can retire and more about how well you can live.
that's a key difference, isn't it? Living well versus just getting by. Okay, so let's use those four pillars: community, climate, culture, cost, to look at the top five spots mentioned in the sources. What makes each one stand out for 2025? Let's start with the classic, Thailand. It always comes up, hits climate and culture really strongly. Warm weather, friendly people, pretty good infrastructure now too. Cities like Chiang Mai and Bangkok are the usual suspects.
Thailand's a really accessible entry point, I think. The cost factor is obviously huge. You hear figures like $600 a month for a single person living like a local, maybe a bit more realistically for expats, but still low. But Thailand's other strength, for retirees specifically, is community. It's got this expat network that's been building for decades, very established, and finding decent accommodation like service departments for longer stays is relatively easy, which smooths the transition.
Okay, makes sense. But what about the red tape? The visas.
Ah, yes. The main one is the non-immigrant OA, the retirement visa. The sources are clear. You need to be over 50. The main hurdle, though, it's financial. You've got to show proof of a certain minimum income or quite a hefty deposit in a Thai bank account. But the healthcare, especially in Bangkok and Chiang Mai, is often seen as worth navigating that bureaucracy.
Gotcha. Okay, next up, the Philippines. Its big selling point and maybe its strongest culture advantage is how widely English is spoken. That makes everything easier, from daily life to just feeling welcome. And, well, the beaches don't hurt.
Definitely helps with the community pillar, too. Cost-wise, the Philippines seems kind of mid-range based on the sources, maybe $1,200 to $2,500 a month for a couple. But the visa situation is a major draw. They have this thing called the Special Resident Retirees Visa, the SRRV. What's interesting is it has different options, like for people retiring a bit earlier and for older retirees. It often involves a deposit, but it's structured more like an investment you might get back, not just a fee you pay. That's quite appealing.
Right. That flexibility is key.
Okay.
Okay, contrast that with somewhere maybe a bit more adventurous. Vietnam. Vietnam seems to hit that cost pillar hardest, some of the lowest living costs for a comfortable life. Sources say many expats get by on $1,000 a month, maybe even less. You got places like historic Hoi An or buzzing Ho Chi Minh City with improving infrastructure and amazing food.
Vietnam is fantastic for low costs and that rich culture, definitely. But the challenge, looking long term, seems to be around community permanence, specifically the visa side. The sources highlight that Vietnam's long-term visas aren't really set up for purely financial retirees, people just living off savings or pensions. You generally need significant investment or some kind of business connection for true long-term residency. So maybe it's better suited for working retirees, entrepreneurs, or people who don't mind doing regular visa runs.
That's a really important distinction. It shifts from just a retirement spot to more of an investment play, potentially. Okay, let's head somewhere tropical. Indonesia. Focusing on Bali. This offers that classic tropical paradise vibe. Strong on climate, definitely. And it seems to have a solid international community, plus those nice villas aren't outrageously priced.
Yeah, you can apparently live quite comfortably, even a bit luxuriously, in Bali for under $2,000 a month. So the cost advantage is still there. But there are a couple of catches. The visa, the retirement queues is quite strict. You must be over 60 and show proof of pension and savings. And the other thing the sources caution about is healthcare. While the lifestyle is great, Bali's medical infrastructure isn't quite at the level of, say, Thailand or Singapore. It's developing, but it's a factor.
So you're potentially trading lower costs for maybe a higher risk if you have serious health issues.
Exactly. It's that kind of calculation. Which brings us neatly to the last one on the list, Singapore. Singapore is the outlier, the high net worth option. It basically ignores the cost pillar you're looking at, $4,000 a month, probably more. But what you get is world-class everything. Healthcare, safety, amazing urban infrastructure. It nails the community, expat hub, and climate in terms of reliable infrastructure, not necessarily weather, pillars perfectly.
And residency there, like Vietnam, but at a higher level, usually needs big investment or a top-tier job,
Yeah.
right?
Precisely. It serves a very specific group who prioritize stability and top-tier services over rock-bottom costs. It really shows that Asia offers something for almost every budget or every priority list. Okay, so moving beyond just the individual countries, we need to think about the practical side of things. Visas are one piece, but healthcare, that's absolutely critical in planning, and the systems vary wildly. You've got truly world-class care in Singapore, excellent options in Thailand, and then developing but improving systems in the Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam. Because of that range, good quality, comprehensive private international health insurance, it's not really optional. The sources pretty much universally recommend it everywhere.
Makes sense. What about language? That fits into the culture assessment. English works well in the Philippines, Singapore, and the main tourist or expat areas of Thailand. But the sources suggest that if you're heading to Vietnam or Indonesia, you should probably prepare for more of a language barrier.
Definitely. Though the payoff, if you put in the effort, can be a deeper cultural connection. And you often find supportive local and expat groups to help bridge that gap.
So, summing up the paperwork side, residency rules are all over the place. You've got age limits, 50 plus in Thailand, 60 plus in Indonesia. You've got the need for serious investment or business ties like in Vietnam or Singapore. The big takeaway for you, the listener, seems to be do your homework up front on visas.
Yeah.
Seriously research it. It basically dictates whether you can actually stay long-term or not.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, the sources point to a couple of really interesting trends emerging for 2025 and beyond. These could change how we even think about retirement. First, there's this rise of what they're calling hybrid or part-time retirees. These aren't people just picking one spot and staying put. They're moving seasonally, maybe between 2 or even 3 countries, trying to get the best climate, the best cost, managing visa limits across different places.
That's fascinating. Moving that much. Are they doing it like to navigate tricky tax situations, or is it purely about lifestyle?
Yeah.
Chasing the sun, chasing the savings?
The analysis seems to point mostly towards lifestyle optimization. Spend maybe 6 months enjoying the low cost of living in Thailand, then maybe 6 months back home or somewhere else with different advantages. It lets you combine the best bits of climate and costs from different places without getting tied down by one country's long-term visa rules or tax system.
Interesting. What's the second trend?
The second one is directly linked to that complexity, actually. It's the growing focus on wealth protection and tax planning. This isn't just about finding the cheapest place anymore. It's about being smart with your finances and staying compliant globally.
Okay, are the sources flagging specific regulatory changes, things happening in 2025 that make this suddenly more critical?
They are, yeah. Things like the Common Reporting Standard CRS and just generally more financial transparency between countries. Governments are sharing info much more now. So retirees can't just be digital nomads and assume their finances are off the radar. You really need to figure out your tax residency properly to avoid issues like double taxation or unexpected penalties. This is apparently driving real demand for specialized cross-border financial advice. That whole financial planning aspect is becoming much more central than it might have been, say, 10 years ago.
Wow, okay. That adds a whole other layer. So, wrapping up, we've seen Asia is still a huge draw for retirees. That mix of affordability, adventure, culture, hospitality is compelling. But doing the homework is key.
Exactly. The sources really confirm that knowing the specifics, the costs, the insurance needs, those visa hurdles up front is what makes the difference between a dream move and, well, a potential headache. It gives you clarity. And thinking about those hybrid retirees we mentioned, the ones splitting time seasonally, if more and more people are doing that, does it suggest that maybe the future of retirement isn't about finding that one perfect permanent home anymore? Could it be more about managing a portfolio of 2 or 3 locations to get the best blend of climate, cost, and culture throughout the year?
That's a really interesting thought to leave people with, a portfolio of retirement locations. This deep dive drew on material from sources like Kiplinger, Nomad Capitalist, and Yahoo Finance, definitely worth exploring further if this has sparked your interest.